Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Today I am reviewing the Dawn of Fire novel Hand of Abaddon by author Nick Kyme. As always with my reviews, I will be discussing story themes and narratives, but without any major story spoilers. And so, as usual, let's begin by reading the synopsis off the back of the book. As the Indomitus Crusade rages on, Inquisitor Rostov discovers vital intelligence that could reveal the plan of the notorious Hand of Abaddon, and hastily gathers together those loyal to his cause. Defending the Anaxian line, Ultramarines Lieutenant Ferron Arios uncovers a dread vision that has ties to the mission of an old ally. Meanwhile, Magda Kesh campaigns alongside the 84th Mordian, though she refutes her fate as something more than a mere soldier. Is she truly touched by the Emperor? Despite a fractious alliance, the Hand's scheme is reaching culmination. Amidst the infighting, Farador Yang yearns to be free of her master Tenebrous' shadow and claim her destiny. But another acolyte has embarked on his own path, the Red Corsair Grail Herrick. Both vie for the favour of the Dark Gods and the means to harness an ancient evil that could reshape the war between the Imperium and Chaos. Okay, so on Monday I did my spoiler and aftermath discussion on the main story takeaways for me. However, I've had a few people asking for the usual review as well, so here we are. I've struggled a little bit reviewing the Dawn of Fire series at times over the course of the series, because the format isn't my particular favourite style. They're very much like smaller versions of the Siege of Terror series in a way, with a lot of character points of view, which all generally come together by the end of the novel. And Hand of Abaddon is certainly no different. I just personally prefer a little more focused view on characters that gives you time to really explore and get to know them. Just my personal preference and the stories I tend to enjoy the most. The difference here though is that it has a lot of returning characters from earlier installments of the series, so it feels far more like a sequel than any other previous installment thus far. Here, you really do need to have been keeping up with the series to know what's going on. And honestly, from my own experience, it might help if you've read them recently, or at least refreshed your memory, so you remember who everyone is. I didn't do that, and so I think I might have missed out a bit. Obviously, I read a lot, so it was hard for me to remember quite who everyone was, if I'm honest. However, returning we have Inquisitor Rostov, the Inquisitor in pursuit of the Hand. Rogue trader Katla Helvinter, who found the Attilan Gate crossing of the Great Rift, believed to be the staging point for Rabute Gilliman's upcoming crusade. Sergeant Kesh of the Militarum, the Sister of Silence Serenial, Messinius of the White Consuls, Grail Herrick of the Red Corsairs, the Chaos Sorcerer Yang, the Hand of Abaddon Tenebrous, and honestly even a few more. So if you've loved and enjoyed all these characters previously, then obviously you'll continue to enjoy them here. Because like I said, it is the most sequel-esque installment of the entire series. Really more focused on the Hand of Abaddon story now than the Indomitus Crusade. And I guess it'll depend on your personal preference if you think that's good or bad. Now, as for the highlights and strengths of the novel, for me, Inquisitor Rostov is and has been an intriguing character. I always tend to enjoy a good Inquisitor investigation, and that's no different here. There's a point early on where the Inquisitor's investigation leads him back to the Throne World itself, diving into the depths of its ancient libraries. And it's really well presented and crafted. kinda giving me a Erasmus Crowell vibe from the Vaults of Terror series. Not only does the presence and importance of terror loom large, but it adds that sense of importance and gravitas to Rostov's investigation too. By now, it's more into the late time for action stages, but it was definitely for me by far and away the best narrative of the story, the real driving force. We also get our first appearance of the Leagues of Votan, with the Omrigar kindred, who are battling a force of chaos alongside an Imperial rogue trader. We don't get too much time alongside them, and other than the Votan words and descriptions, they didn't really feel much different to the Imperium characters for me. I would have just loved them to feel more distinctive, like the Eldari for example, but I certainly wouldn't begrudge seeing them again. Getting a close-up glimpse of the Grimnir for example was great, and quite simply it's nice to see the Votan appear within a novel. See how they interact with the Imperium. I wouldn't go in expecting a real revelation of Votan lore and civilization here, because you're not going to get that, but I think that will come in their own specific novel that's on the way, where we'll get some real in-depth time to dive into their culture. I also love any time we get the Silent Sisterhood show up within a novel. Just like the Custodes, they have an aura and impact that just can't be matched. They are the talons of the Emperor, and so they leap off the page and steal the show whenever they arrive. Even the use of Faultmark makes their conversations different and stand out, and I'd really love to see them get their own novel series at some point down the line. Serenial here exemplifies all of those things. If this was an Inquisitor Rostov novel or series, with each chapter alternating between the partnership's point of view, Rostov and Serenial, honestly, I think we could have a series for the ages. An absolutely fantastic dynamic of an Inquisitor alongside a Sister of Silence. And I don't know what the future holds, but I would be very interested in reading these two characters teaming up in a more focused on adventure. And I think that term leads me on to the negatives. Focused. This doesn't feel like the Indomitus Crusade anymore, yet it doesn't spend enough time with Rostov to truly feel like his story either. It feels like the focus and driving force of the story is his investigation, but there's just too much other stuff going on to be able to give it the attention and development it deserves. And so it does feel a little bit too fast. And as always with me, there's far too many character points of view, trying to tell the tale of the investigation, chaos, and a bit of the Indomitus Crusade, yet from multiple points of view for each one, with each chapter taking you to a different character. And I personally felt like I was being pulled all over the place, and was never really invested in anything other than Rostov himself. Now, I think if you've become invested and interested in Sergeant Kesh's journey, and that of the Chaos Sorcerer Yengs, you will most likely really enjoy this installment, because outside of Rostov, these are the two characters who get a lot of time cutting back to their situation, and so their stories are most definitely continued, feeling like they are being built up to be focal points of the next and final installment, each the light and dark side respectively. So if you are invested in Kesh and Yang, then again you'll really enjoy this one. I can easily see them being the two sides of the coin, as it were, the light and the dark. Unfortunately for me, they're just not characters that have stood out or gripped me throughout the Dawn of Fire series so far. I mainly found myself just wanting to get back to Rostov or Serenial, who were the characters I found more interesting. or even giving the Votann a little more page time. But again, like I said at the start here, I read so much, I honestly struggle to remember characters that haven't really captivated me. And so I think my interpretation of this one will be very different to most of yours, who I'm assuming will really remember and be invested in many of those side characters. So I'm not going to score this one today, as I think my view will possibly be quite different and unique. However, overall for me, the strengths of this one are by far and away Inquisitor Rostov's investigation, his interactions with previously established characters, the likes of the rogue trader Helvinter and the Sister of Silence Serenial, characters I would really enjoy seeing focused on more in their own novel, maybe a Rostov series with them all. And I also enjoyed seeing the Votann get an appearance for the first time, increasing my excitement for their future specific standalone novel. And it also does a good job of making it feel like we're reaching the end, that the story is all about to climax, and in a big way, which, as far as I'm aware, is going to be in the next installment, the big climactic ending. And so it does a good job of setting the stage for that, tying up and rounding off a lot of loose ends. However, the weaknesses, where it wasn't quite a full-on Inquisition story, and it didn't feel like an Indomitus Crusade story either. Kind of falling in between somewhere maybe. And personally, there were just too many points of view for me, making it a little hard to keep up with what was going on, and jumping away from the characters a bit too quickly. And I would definitely recommend re-familiarising yourself with the previous few installments if you can before diving into this. It would be great if you could get one of those previously on X-Men kind of snippets at the start, just to get you caught back up with the main players and what's going on. I think I might do that and then give it a reread, see if it changes my opinion. But overall, it's building up to a big grand finish, which I think undoubtedly will have some big lore implications. And what's not to love about that? Again, I think we've only got one more novel to go, and we're finally about to get some big movements on the mainline lore. The Emperor, the Star Child, and hopefully Guilliman's crossing of the Great Rift, and the revelation regarding the returned Lionel Johnson. The culmination of the Dawn of Fire series is hopefully going to deliver some very, very big things. But as always everyone, what did you think? Huge thank you to all my subscribers, your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. If you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too? But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.